His rap sheet is going to get up there in terms of how many bones this guy has like fractured and broken, and the skin grafts and all the degree burns. And I think all of that stuff is honestly really, really cool. I would love to see more Novocaine. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Isaac Joel, and you are listening to The Critics right here on YouTube. And today we're going to be talking about an exciting new film hitting theaters this weekend, Novocaine, starring Jack Quaid. This film has been on my mind for quite some time now. If you haven't seen the most recent marketing, Jack Quaid was like at a basketball game, and I think in the beginning of the game he had like a black eye, and then later on like his hand was like broken, and then he was wearing an arm cast, and then he started wearing crutches, and like little by little he was wearing a neck brace. He was just like all messed up by the end of the game, giving like a full-on interview all jacked up. I thought that was brilliant. Seriously, I think that's like great marketing strategies. I wish filmmaking and marketing was on that level every time for a movie, where it's like public marketing, you know. I love when they put like posters and stuff like that on like park benches and whatever, but like taking it up another notch, you know, kind of like when Will Ferrell did like the Buddy the Elf thing, or even when he dresses up like Ron Burgundy from like Anchorman and goes around pretending like he's that actual person. I love that kind of stuff. I think that's very zany. I think it's brilliant. Jack Quaid is one of my favorite actors, and he gets a lot of hate and crap, I think, for being like a Nepo baby. And dude, if he's a Nepo baby, he's one of my favorite Nepo babies of all time. I think Jack Quaid is seriously just such a great actor. I could sit here and kind of go on and on about his other projects, man. I could sit here and talk about Scream, how phenomenal he was as the killer, one of the killers in Scream, kind of the one pulling all the strings, really, at the end of the day. Obviously, The Companion came out earlier this year, and it's such a good movie. Again, puts him kind of like in the psychological killer seat, you know, the one that's pulling all the strings. I do love when he's doing psychological horror film type stuff like that. I know he has another movie coming out with Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I'm excited to see him evolve kind of like as an actor. Obviously, The Boys, that goes without being said. You know, The Boys is like coming back for season 4. Jack Quaid is just the man, dude. He really is one of the best actors living today, and I give this dude so much praise. I want that on the record before I even like start breaking down this film. I liked Novocaine. I thought it was such a fun time, really, in theaters. I saw this a couple of days before it came out, so I'm really excited to be talking about this movie with you all. The cast is really interesting. We have a couple of really good recognizable names. Amber Midthunder, if you guys remember her from Prey, oh my god, she is so good in that movie, and she is so good in this film. She plays kind of like this love interest with Jack Quaid. Jack Quaid, whose name in the film is Nathan Cade. I love when movies do this, seriously, when like the, let's just say like the superhero name kind of matches like the actual person's real name. So Nathan Cain, Novocaine. I walked into this movie very skeptical because the trailer, everything I had seen, the marketing was all making it feel like another superhero movie. And I was like, well, we already kind of had Jack Quaid in, you know, The Boys, and I know he's not technically a superhero in there, or even like Superman, you know, he's I think the voice actor in that animated series. I don't watch it, but he has played kind of like a good amount, I think, of like hero characters. And so this was very different for him because they took, as a lot of action movies do these days, they take the John Wick franchise and they're like, okay, what can we do with that? How can we stylize that for another actor? You know, we've had that with Bob Odenkirk. We've had that for a lot of other actors, you know, in the past. And so Jack Quaid is getting his own John Wick franchise. And he's talked about how that movie obviously has had a huge influence in this movie particular. So I like that they're recognizing that. I like that they're not shying away from, you know, taking inspiration from that. That's okay with me. He plays this bank manager, and he suffers from this like disease or this kind of like disability, really, where he's immune to pain. He doesn't really feel pain. He's numb to it. He doesn't even know or can register when anything is happening. And he is so sensitive about it. I love how sensitive he is about it. Like how he's just very insecure and doesn't want to talk about it and doesn't want to be judged by other people by it. And he's always been made fun of and bullied. And when he was a kid, he like stepped on a nail and his entire foot was like bleeding and he didn't even recognize it until he got home. And so all of this stuff has been traumatizing for him growing up. And I really think that that was such a good idea to bring to the character. It was something that I wasn't really expecting. Again, the trailer made me feel like I was walking into like a superhero, John Wick type movie. And I was just kind of shaking my head, not wanting to see that. I love John Wick. I love action films, but I've seen it. I've been there. We've done that already. Give me something different, something that I haven't seen before. And so with this, he, again, has this level of sensitivity to him. He meets this woman that works at the bank with him. She's been working there for like about 4 months now. She's young, she's beautiful, and she notices him and they start talking. Amber Midthunder's character named Sherry, she bumps into Novocaine in like the break room, accidentally spills coffee all over him. And again, he just doesn't feel the pain, kind of fakes it, invites him out for like a cup of coffee in order to make it up to him. And they got to talking and she's like, you know, what's your deal? What's going on with you, you know? And he comes out with this, and this diner scene to me was very important throughout the whole movie. I believed right away that they were connecting, that she liked him and that he liked her. And then he goes home and, you know, kind of like 40-year-old virgin, starts to play video games, and he lives all by himself and he's got no friends. He's got no hobbies. He's got nothing but this friend that he talks online with all day that he's never even met, which we'll get to that later. But he's very alone. He's finally convinced that he needs to go out tonight and get drinks with Sherry. And he meets up with her and they start hanging out, and he bumps into his old high school bully and he starts making fun of him again, and they get kind of even with him. And I loved all of this. This really made me believe that I was watching a love story. The whole like 20 or so minutes of the film, before you even get to like the actual like action stuff, you really feel like you're watching a love story unfold right in front of you. And I had no idea that I was in for that. You know, this movie is described as an action thriller. I would easily throw in a love story with this one. I felt that immediately, that connection as it was evolving. You know, you really cared for both of them. So these Santas, they come in, they bust in through the bank, they hold everyone hostage, they kill one of the managers, and they take Sherry hostage. So now Novocaine is on this quest to go and save her. He doesn't care about the money. He doesn't care about the bank robbers. He doesn't care about any of that. He's not a trained assassin. He's not a mixed martial arts fighter or a boxer. He knows nothing. He's never even pulled a trigger before. This is just a normal average guy. And that is what is so cool about it, is that he's just coming in from this like, look, I just want the girl and I just want to go home. I love those motivations. It's very simple, and he's drawn into this world of violence where now he's having to fight these goons, these thugs, in order to get to her. The ringleader in this entire operation, his name is Simon. He's played by Ray Nicholson. And oh my God, I had no idea Ray Nicholson was in this movie. If you don't know who Ray Nicholson is, he is the son of Jack Nicholson. He was just recently in Smile 2. He had a very small role, but very important role in that film. And he makes an appearance in this as the main kind of antagonist, the main Santa Claus. And he is just so maniacal. He is just so twisted. I love it. I bought into that immediately, and I forgot, again, as I was watching the movie, I totally forgot who he was, that he was Ray Nicholson. I was like, who is this guy? He was unrecognizable, honestly, just his entire performance and how he was getting lost in it. And I was like, wow, this guy is really just unrecognizable. And I didn't even notice until way after I saw the film, like, holy shit, that was Ray Nicholson. Look, I know everybody has said this. I know it's like, again, been there, done that. Ray Nicholson needs to be the next Joker. And if he's not the next Joker, man, it's just such a lost cause, dude, for real. This dude was born to play that role and to do something completely different that his father had done. And I just think that would be such an awesome legacy to see unfold in theaters in front of us with those characters, with the Batman, with the Joker, all of that, man. This is my campaign, bro. Put Ray Nicholson as the Joker. Make him some kind of villain, something, dude. Like, literally, this dude is going to be like the next star. Like, I loved him in this movie so much. He was a good antagonist to the protagonist. It really felt like both of those dudes had met their own match. Jacob Batalon plays Roscoe, who is the online friend to Nathan Cain. They play like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, or Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know. They're playing some kind of like game online with each other, and they talk all the time. They never met, and Roscoe kind of describes himself as like this tall, really handsome looking dude that drives a Harley around, and he gets chicks and he gets laid all the time. And it's like, you know who he is. You know, like when you're watching the movie, that it's gonna be revealed as Jacob. So the joke is kind of already lost. He's in the marketing of the film. You know he's going to show up. So it's really not funny when he shows up. You're like, yeah, I know it was him. I knew that. Like, anybody would have known that. And he's playing the same character as he does in the Spider-Man movies. He's literally Nathan Leeds. He's literally that guy that just won't shut up and is always talking and irritating the main characters. That was kind of hard to watch for him. Like, honestly, would have loved to seen like a true sidekick to Novocaine, someone that wanted to kind of join the action, but he was like, no, I don't want you to be part of this, but I just need your help, you know, whatever. He was kind of like this reluctant guy that didn't want to even help him to begin with. And then when he does show up, he's like, you described yourself as Jason Momoa. You look absolutely nothing like him. It's really just not funny. I didn't like his character at all. I think he was one of the most weaker parts of the entire movie. And that's kind of disappointing. I would love to see this dude like succeed in life, really. But it just feels like he cannot escape this Ned Leeds character. And it doesn't really feel like he's challenging himself at all or fighting for better roles. Whatever, man. That's kind of here nor there. The whole star of this film is really Jack Quaid. There is a surprise twist kind of halfway through this film, and I don't want to spoil that for you guys. I really kind of want you to go and watch this for yourself and see it unfold right in front of you. But I do want to talk about, just very lightly on that twist, I felt like it just came way too early in the movie. I knew that this was going to happen. I knew where it was going. It was kind of predictable. But I felt like they should have saved that twist for as long as they could, possibly to, you know, as close to the end as possible, right when like Jack Quaid walks into the room and has Ray Nicholson at gunpoint. I felt like that would have been the perfect time to reveal the twist, but that's, you know, that doesn't really destroy the movie. That's really not a huge problem. I still like the twist irregardless. Jack Quaid's character has these tats all over his body. Obviously, he can't feel pain. So he's afraid of anything. He's afraid to chew food. He thinks that he might bite and swallow his tongue and not even know about it. Like, that's really kind of like, those levels of details are really fascinating. And so he has these tattoos all over him that he's done himself, and it's kind of like this medieval kind of like princess, prince, kind of like Knight of the Round Table looking vibes. It has like a giant castle on his chest, but it's incomplete. And so the whole movie is like, how does the story end? And that is the journey that he goes on. And I really liked all of the subtle nuances that they added to his character that just made him very fascinating. Because he's nobody and has no friends and doesn't go out, he has a large library in his room, in his apartment, and he just reads all these books, the most randomest books, and even manuals, just because he has the time, just because he can, just because there's nothing else for him to do. He's not trying to go out and be like a superhero. And again, I was worried about the superhero type element ruining this movie. I feel like you can kind of literally just do away with that. This is not a superhero movie at all. This is really kind of like a revenge style film. It's very short, hour 50 minutes. It's totally cool. I would love to see more Novocaine. I would love to see this dude kind of come back and just, because there's something interesting at the fact that, and it's hilarious too, that when he destroys every single bone in his body, and then after a period of time he can recover. He doesn't have superpowers, he can't like super heal, but he does have to heal all of his fractures and everything like that. Once he's healed and he's back to normal, then he can go back and do that stuff all over again. So I do think it's really cool, the idea of like, oh shoot, like his rap sheet is going to get up there in terms of how many bones this guy has like fractured and broken, and the skin grafts and all the degree burns. And I think all of that stuff is honestly really, really cool. I would love to see more Novocaine, man. I think this movie is super exciting. I don't love some of like the side characters. You have a couple of side cops that are like chasing Novocaine throughout the entire movie, and they're okay, you know, they're all right, you know, the goons are okay, the people that he's like fighting up against until he gets to the main villain at the end. But I just felt like some of the side characters, even, you know, Jacob Batalon, you know, everyone was kind of just mid at the end of the day, while Amber Midthunder and Jack Quaid are like the stars of this movie. Would love to see both of those guys come back into this franchise. I could do without the other actors, really. In conclusion, I think Novocaine is a really rad action film that does suffer from poor side characters that just aren't fully developed. I do think everything is totally on Jack Quaid, and he's the star of this film. I stayed for after the credits to see if he was like even a producer, an executive producer. No, none of that. He is just the lead in the movie, and he really nails all the action sequences. This movie is super rad. I highly recommend that you guys go check it out. I'm going to rate Novocaine 6 out of 10. Now, I know right away you're going to think like, oh, wait, that's not a great rating. That's kind of low. Listen, this movie isn't the absolute best action film I've seen. It does suffer from poor writing, and I think everything is just kind of built on the relationship between Sherry and Nathan Cain, and that's totally fine. This movie is serviceable, it is fun, it is action-packed, and I do think you're gonna have a good time with it. But I do think it should have spent a lot more time developing its lesser known characters, and maybe expanded on that runtime a little bit more, and really raise the stakes, I think, even further, man. But as a first entry into like the Novocaine like franchise, I am totally down for what these movies are going to bring. I just want to take this time and say thank you so much for listening to this review, and liking and subscribing to this channel. It really means a lot to me that there are people out there that are genuinely curious in my opinions and my thoughts on all of these films, TV shows that are coming out. And I just want you guys to know that as a filmmaker myself, I really do enjoy just absorbing and watching these movies and kind of learning from them, really, because I take all of this and I bring it onto my own projects. And so it really is inspiring to see these kind of people, these actors, really like go above and beyond to really entertain audiences. That's always my goal when it comes to making a film and everything like that. So I really appreciate you guys for supporting me all of these years. Really, I know it's been kind of like ups and downs for me. You know, 1 minute I'm here, 1 minute I'm there. It's kind of hard to keep track, you know. But at the end of the day, I will always be here to be talking about movies with you all. You know, this is my passion, this is my drive, this is my motivation, and I really love breaking all this down with you guys. So again, thank you so much for listening to this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And as always, my name is Isaac Joel. You've been listening to The Critics. I'll catch you next time.